All right, hello everyone, and welcome to an episode of Dear Dr. Fantasy. And for my very special guests today, it's Mike and Ro from the channel Bald and Balding. Hello, guys. It's great to see you.
Hey Doc, how
Hey,
you doing?
Philip.
All right, it's been a while. It's been a while. I was a guest on your channel, Bald and Balding, some time ago, and it was a huge pleasure. So I am very happy to have the opportunity to chat with the two of you today.
Yeah, we
Thanks for
got the
having us.
message that the check cleared, so thank you.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Good to know the check cleared. But there's a few reasons for this discussion. But let's get the important thing done here first. As you can see from Ro's background, you guys are up to something, aren't you? It's something that sounds like a lot of fun, and I want you to talk about the this little Kickstarter thing you're doing here before we get into the other stuff that we're going to do on DDF. But so tell us what you want to tell us about who's getting in on this thing. What's going on with this Kickstarter?
It'd probably be easier to say who's not. So a little over a year ago, Mike and I started talking about things we could do to take up more of our time to stop us from writing, and we said we could do an anthology, right? We could get some authors together and put out an anthology. So we contacted a bunch of people, and we've ended up with 34 indie authors
Wow.
who have each given us a short story in the 5,000 word range. So it's a really nice, comfortable, quick read. Give you a little taste of what their style is like, and we're going to put those together in a Kickstarter campaign that launches September 1st
September
with
1st. Okay.
right with the idea that at some level people can get a story a day in their email every day in the month of December, right? Sort of like an advent calendar kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then of course the big trophy kind of book hardcover at the end of it, early in
Oh,
2027
so
at
they
some
get a
point.
physical book at the end of the
Yeah,
whole
they
adventure.
can. Yeah,
Oh,
Oh, I can't.
yep.
That's one of the tiers, I guess.
yeah.
Okay, amazing. What else can you tell us about the various tiers? What's like the starting, what would you get for the starting tier and all that sort of thing?
The base tier, Mike, jump in here if you want. The base tier is the story a day,
Okay.
right? And then there's kind of
That
like
comes
a
as that's like an E file or whatever.
yeah,
Yep.
probably yeah.
Okay.
And we might work through book funnel to do that, just so people can download it into whatever they want really easily. We'll we're still working on that a little bit. We got a little time. Um, and there's an ebook version of it, and then of course the hardcover version of it.
Oh,
And
sweet.
I think we're going to do a paperback eventually, Mike, but not as part of the Kickstarter.
Okay.
Right. So the hardback will be a one-time only print run, and it's going to have all the bells and whistles. And we had a couple mock-ups in paperback made, but the dragon is going to be gold foil on the cover of the
Ooh.
hardback. It's going to
Ooh.
have a sewn-in ribbon for your bookmarker. We are going all out on everything on this hardback, and also everybody is having basically has had a cover made for their short story, and we're going to have that printed in color before you read their short story. So there's going to be lots of artwork, no AI art, of course.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, it is going to be one for the ages. It's
It's going to
all
be
everything.
loaded with art. You're telling me it's going to have 30 art pieces of art inside the book for each story.
Yes.
One. Wow.
It's right. So there'll be 34, each one acting as a cover for the author's story. There is the cover art by Matt Slay there. Uh,
Wow. Which is really
there,
looks cool, by the way. I love it.
there is an additional piece of art that we're probably going to use for the a sprayed edge, should we reach that tier. And then, of course, the inside end papers will have art as well. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it's color art too, you said. In the
Yes.
interior. Whoa. Okay. This sounds amazing. Yeah. All right, I'm in. Will there, I guess I will have, you guys will give me a link I can put in the description for people to
Sure. Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
head to the
Yep.
Kickstarter. All
Yeah.
right. Very nice. I love it. You guys, that's quite an ambitious project. And I guess it shows that you've been doing this for like a year now. You've been planning this. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of herding of cats
yes.
with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and ambitious is had we known the scale of the ambition to which we entered, we probably would have started 2 years ago. Um,
Okay. Okay.
but
Or
yeah,
had 10 authors, not 34.
10 authors with longer stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then we would only have 10 interior art pieces. So
Yeah.
this is even
So,
better. Yeah.
and I need to jump in the highest stretch goal, which I hope we get. If we get there, everyone gets a free audiobook
Whoa.
with the
Okay.
hardback purchase. So but that's the very high tier, but hopefully that'll happen.
Okay, you buy the hardback, and if we get to that point in the
The
Kickstarter,
stretch goal.
then everybody
You'll
who
get
does buy the hardback gets the audiobook as well.
yep.
Ooh, wow. Do you know who's going to do the recording if this happens, or is that still
Uh
in the works?
nope, we have them Tracy Ortolano and Dale. I cannot remember Dale's last name. I talked to Tracy. But
Okay.
they're actually had them they're doing my short story, which we will hopefully be able to load up on Kickstarter so you can get an idea. This is the narrators. So we have male and female because we don't know who's the main character is, what the author wants. So
Okay.
we have a team so you can have male, female, or both.
Amazing.
Uh, and really hope we get to that level because I'm an audiobook guy. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I love audiobooks too. That's awesome. And you are both of you going to have a story inside the collection as well? All
yep.
right. All right. That's
I was
amazing.
only 3 weeks late with mine getting it in. So when I
How can you
complain
be
about the
one of the
author,
late ones?
when I
Ro, you
complain
had
about
yours
the
in on time,
authors,
right? Yours was on time, Ro?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
see, yeah.
Sure.
So,
As far as anybody knows.
well, that's amazing. You guys, that's wonderful. And I hope that you'll get a ton of support. It just seems like we got to get the word out. That's it. You're going to get a ton of support if we can get the word out. So, everybody spread the word about this. And we'll be seeing, I'm sure, information about it. You guys are on X, right?
yep,
Oh yeah, yeah. We're on X and Instagram and Blue
Instagram.
Sky.
Okay. And of course, Bald and Balding, I'm sure people can get information there as well, or will be able to.
yep.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Though that is the business part of this. And actually, it was fun to hear about it. But now we're going to move on to our regular show, everyone. So, one of the things we always do, guys, here on Dear Dr. Fantasy is I ask my guest, or guests in your case, about the books that have inspired them, the foundational stories in your life. So, going on the premise that you are what you read, gentlemen, I want to hear about some of your formative reads from the years going back as far as you like. However, we're going to do it a little differently today because I have the two of you here. We're going to see how well you actually know each other from these years of podcasting and being on your channel together. And so you're going to tell me about each other's formative reads. We'll start with you, Mike, and you're going to tell us about the most important stories in Roe's life. And then Roe is going to confirm or deny. And eventually it'll emerge what you actually did read and what's important for you. So, Mike, give us one of Roe's foundational. What did little Roe read way back when he was a wee lad?
So I think for fantasy author, it's always a safe guess to say Tolkien. So I'm going to
Yeah.
say The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
We're going with the safe one. We have the confirmation. Roe, is the Lord of the Rings foundational for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I for a while I was reading The Hobbit like every year, and if not to read the story, to read how it was written, right? And it's a super easy to chart out, right? They go from place to place. They walk, and there's a little thing that happens, and they walk, and there's a little thing that happens. But each little thing that happens, there's something there that helps at the end, right? But it doesn't have a ton of different branches going off in different directions and all that kind of thing, which I think makes it really accessible for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I see that you have over your left shoulder there that white bound Lord of the Rings book. Yeah, I've got that set as well. It's a lovely set.
This one goes back much further for me, but yeah, that's
Yeah. So like me, I've got, 4 or 5 different sets of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
so do
Whenever you find
I.
something older and new, it's like, oh yeah, I'll buy that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
As you can see, it's pretty foundational for me as well. And Ro, are we going to go out on a limb here and guess that maybe Mike also read Lord of the Rings when he was a little kid?
I think it was probably too long for him. Um, Mike famously doesn't like to read long things, but I'm going to say that Jurassic Park figured somewhere in
Ooh.
his head because of his obscene love of dinosaurs.
So the book or the film or both?
Probably the book because he also famously doesn't watch a lot of movies.
Ah, okay. So Mike, are we going to confirm or deny this?
Absolutely true. I like both, but the book is always better.
Yeah. That's Michael Crichton. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I've only read one book by him that's Eaters of the Dead, which I thought was great, which inspired the film The 13th Warrior, right? Are you a
Yep.
Crichton reader other than Jurassic Park, or is that mainly do you love the dinosaurs?
I've read, I don't know, a handful of his books.
Okay.
As I start going back to his earlier work, I was like, I didn't like it as much. I don't think it had as much polish on it.
Huh.
So I read Sphere, and I read the book with the gorillas that try to kill you. I forget the name of that one. I was like, I don't know. I think he got better at developing the plot and the ending towards later in his writing, and I like those. I started there, so when I went back, I was seeing warts. So I mean, now it would be interesting just to go back and see the progression because I was not ever going to be a writer until 46 when I decided to start writing on a lark, and
Huh.
so this was never a lifelong goal of mine. So
So do dinosaurs appear in your fantasy or
not yet.
okay?
I'm going to have to fit them in somehow.
I mean, that would be awesome. My favorite series of all time, the Malazan Book of the Fallen, does have dinosaurs in it. So there. I don't know. Have you read Malazan yet, guys?
I started reading the first book and I was like, yeah, I need more mental bandwidth to do this, and I'm too busy. So, because I'll read and I'll stop for a week and then I'll read. I was like, I won't remember what happened. So I was like, that's put it off
Yeah.
for.
You gotta read beyond the first book to get the dinosaurs with the sword arms. But yeah, you'll
Okay.
hopefully you'll get
Useful dinosaur arms. Woohoo.
yes, very useful. Makes it hard to do certain things, like wipe their butts. But I guess dinosaurs don't do that anyway. So
Mm. Handshakes are interesting.
handshakes, yeah. So- but anyway, great. So you guys are both 1 for 1 so far. That's awesome. You
I
do know
think
each
that's
other.
where it ends. Yeah.
Let's see if this continues, the streak. Let's see if the streak continues. So, Mike, what's another important influence for Roe in his reading journey?
I don't know. I'm going to guess Terry Brooks.
Terry Brooks, Sword of Shannara and all that, the Shannara books. Yeah?
Yeah, no. I've started reading. I know I started reading Sword of Shannara when I was younger. Um, I remember not getting it. It's probably something I should go back to, but I just never have. Yeah.
I actually read the first one, The Sword of Shannara, and this was when I was a teenager and a huge Tolkien nut. And I was kind of a snob, I'll admit it. And I read it and thought, this is a ripoff of The Lord of the Rings, and I refuse to read anymore. And I think I'll probably correct that someday and go back and because what I hear is that as the series continues, it becomes more and more its own thing. And that you really need to read the second and third book to really get what's going on in that series. So, and to be fair to Terry Brooks, every single publisher was looking for the next Lord of the Rings back in those times, right? This was the
Yep.
late 70s, I think, when it came out, 77 maybe.
Yep.
So it was just yeah, I need to correct that. I feel a little bad about being so dismissive when I was a teenager, but so that's a no. So we 50-50 so far, Mike.
Oh yeah, it's all going to be no's from here because I honestly have no idea.
Well, let's see what you can come up with. Maybe you'll be lucky, Ro. What's another important influence for Mike?
50 Shades of Grey. I I have no idea.
No.
Wait, wait, you're denying it. You're denying it. Okay. All right. No 50 Shades of Grey. Either the book or the film.
So last year at our New Year's Eve show, they people started talking, and I told them I watched four movies last year, and two of them were in the last week of the year.
Oh,
So they started shouting out movies, or allegedly they were movie titles. I don't know. And I'm like, nope, never heard of it. And so they said, here are 12 movies you have to watch in 2026. And Tim Wolf, his choice was 50 Shades of Grey, which I have not watched and I do not want to watch. And Tim, I will get even. I made him a villain in one of my series, and he is the lamest villain that has ever existed. So, I mean, I guess I kind of got payback, but I I'm dreading that. But I've watched 10 of the 12 now, so
uh-oh. Okay. You're saving it for last. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
no, no, that was not foundation. I have not encountered 50 Shades of Grey, and I don't really want to, Tim.
I think you got the better of him in this exchange, though, with the villain inclusion. So, all right. Well, you both struck out, so I'm gonna have to ask each one of you for an important influence. So, Ro, I'll let you go first, since Mike missed the mark there. What would have been a good answer if Mike had been more if he'd known you better?
Well, I mean, there are several, but they all go way back. The one I've read again most recently is Garth Nix, the
Uh-huh.
Keys to the Kingdom series,
Yeah.
which I think is, I don't think enough people have read it, honestly, because it is so clever and it's unlike anything else, but it really kind of grabs you. It's a 7 book series, but also I think Raymond Feist, Magician. I've read that multiple times.
Yeah.
The Stephen R. Donaldson.
Uh-huh.
Uh, that was I remember reading that a couple of times when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then some historical fiction. The Sharp series by Bernard
Oh,
Cornwell
sure. Yeah.
and Alexander Kent's Hornblower series.
Okay.
Uh, Horatio Hornblower were really really good. I've read those multiple times as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't read a lot recently, and I need to, and so Mike and I both volunteered to be judges for Corey Ratliff's IBOR competition, which is
Oh,
the
sure. Sure.
the Indie Blog Off Remnants competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to read a half a dozen books or so over the last however many months this has been going on. Uh,
Nice.
and yeah, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Uh, so got to start reading a little more.
I haven't read the Sharp books. When I was younger and I had a television, I used to watch the
Yeah,
show, the
that
Sharp.
TV series. Yeah, the
Yeah,
British
the TV series with
Sean B.
Sean Bean playing Stark, and it's a role in which he didn't die in the first season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He lived through the whole thing.
So, but Cornwell's brilliant. I mean, I've read the most recently the Warlord Chronicles, his Arthurian retelling. I don't know if you've read that or not, but I loved it. I thought it was great. Really great stuff. And one of the more, as far as what would have actually been like in like Dark Age Britain, it's one of the most accurate you can. Of course, it's Cornwell, right? I mean, that's his thing. It's still. I debate whether it's historical fiction or fantasy because we don't know a ton about this era. All right. And
Right.
so what he's portraying here is not really historical in any way, but except for, the tone and what life would have been like back then and that sort of thing. But the events are very much fictional, even mythological, and there's magic in there too, especially
Oh,
as the,
yeah.
the, the trilogy progresses. So it feels more like historical fantasy, I guess, would be maybe the more accurate description.
Fantasy with historical overtones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But good stuff, good stuff. Those are all fantastic influences. Mike, did any of those shock you? Or
Um, no, we actually agree on Raymond Feist, although
okay,
I will I've told people and everyone tells me I'm crazy, but the Empire trilogy, the one he did with Janny
any
Works, is
words?
my absolute favorite trilogy I've ever read, better than Tolkien. Um, I mean,
Oh,
the main character is a girl. She's like 16 or 18 when it starts. She never holds a weapon through the entire trilogy, and
Yeah.
yet, she wins, and she does it with her, and it, oh my God, it is just amazing.
Yeah.
I read that 30 years ago, and I was like, I think that's my favorite. So I just read it this year, reread it, and I'm like, yep, it holds up. It is absolutely my favorite trilogy all time, and it's not a lot of action. It's more, she has to outthink the various people, and I just think it's so smartly written.
Yeah.
That's so yeah,
I haven't read that trilogy yet. I really want to read it. I have read Magician a couple times, actually just recently reread it. And I've read 8 books by Jenny Wirtz, her own books. So To
yep,
Ride Hell's Chasm, the standalone, and then 7 books so far in the Wars of Light and Shadow. And it does not surprise me whatsoever that you would say that the Empire trilogy is the best in the Rift War saga or whatever the greater series is called. Is that right? Rift War? It's
Rift War,
called?
yep,
Okay. Yeah, based on what I read now, no, I'm not throwing any shade on Raymond Feist. It was Magician is a fun book. It's good, feel good
yep,
kind of 80s fantasy. That it's very almost nostalgic even in a sense. But Jenny Wirtz is actually a really brilliant writer. She's just
yep,
incredible. And The Wars of Light and Shadow is, in my mind, one of the masterpieces of the genre. So it doesn't surprise me that you take those two things and you put them in one trilogy, and it would be something special, I'm sure. So, but better
yep.
than Tolkien. I don't know, Ro. What do you think of those words?
yeah, them's fighting words. I don't.
Well, to be fair, I am very much I love The Hobbit much more than Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings, don't get me wrong, but
Huh.
The Hobbit is just it's storytelling. Lord of the Rings gets a little ponderous at times. And I just but The Hobbit is just so accessible. It's still fun. And like you said, it's not brain surgery to follow it, but it's just if you want something fun, quick read, and that's kind of where I go. Like I would say, David Eddings is probably the most foundational one for me, which apparently he's a
Very.
terrible person, but I had no idea.
I think it's great.
But I mean, I just like because he has a map, and through the course of the 5 books, you go through every country. And then I'd read books. I'm like, you have this whole expansive map, and everything takes place in these 2 cities. What else is there? What is that empty space? And so he actually takes you through, and every kingdom has its own different culture, which is not overdone because I was a teenager when I read this first. But it was accessible. It was fun. Looking back, I don't think anyone ever dies in his books.
Oh,
So,
okay.
uh, you know, eh. And then I'll give you another one just because, along the same vein, Fred Saberhagen, the first
Uh-huh.
book of swords, the second book of swords, the third book of swords, not the most inventive titles. Um, but I I read that. I reread. I was like, every 5 to 10 years, they're short, they're fun. I'm always irritated because the premise is the gods made 12 swords that all have different powers. Like Shield Breaker will destroy any weapon
Whoop. He froze up there.
in front of it, and Town Saver will and Town Saver will save the town if it's being attacked. And but the person who wields it once the attack is done is dead. Because it doesn't try to save you, it just tries to kill all the people. And as long as you're holding it, you're alive. But as soon as all your wounds, and it's 3 books. They're all like 250 pages, and I'm like, you could have written 500-page novels for these. There's so much more you could have done with. So it always irritates me.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, the premise is one of the best. My all-time favorite premise, I think, for a series. And then he did do the books of Lost Swords, like up to the 7th book of Lost Swords. So there is more, but I always want more when I'm read that. And I'm like, that's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good complaint. Yeah, yeah, I would say. Yeah. Have you read Saberhagen as well? It looked like it, Ro.
Yeah, yeah. I remember reading that quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So these
Hey,
are
Mike.
foundation. What else? Yeah, what were you gonna ask Mike?
Uh, Mike, wasn't there something else Jenny Works is going to be working on?
are you saying the forward
Yes.
for our anthology? Yes.
Ooh, sweet. You guys have a forward written by Jenny Wirtz for this anthology you guys are coming out with?
Yep.
We haven't seen it yet. Um,
She'll
but
come
she did
through.
agree to do it. So
She'll come through. Oh, if she agreed, it'll happen. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I think this is breaking news here, right? But
it has definitely been underreported by us because
Yeah.
we are trying to get all the stuff underneath the done and all the ducks in a row, and authors heard it, which makes herding cats look easy.
yeah,
Um, but
that's
yes,
amazing. Yeah,
yep, it is close to Kickstarter time. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. So I imagine I mean, it's probably all organizing all of this is way more work than people realize. I'm sure that more than you realized when you thought, "Hey, let's do an anthology."
so before we started, I talked to Dominique, who did the Advent of Winter,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, "Let me pick your brain." I'm like, "Would you do this again?" He goes, "Well, I haven't, so I guess that's an answer." Then he said, if it was the right people, it'd have to be just about perfect because it is a lot of work. And that's when I was like, oh, I did not want to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said he's thrilled that he did it. He would think about doing it again under the right conditions. But he goes, it is a lot of work, more than you're thinking. And I'm like, just get a bunch of people to write stories. That's all you got to do. You're done.
Yeah.
And no,
We've been super lucky in that a number of folks involved in this have stepped up to help with various aspects of it. So it's not like the two of us are are doing it on our own. There's a lot of input from a bunch of other authors. So
That does sound like our community. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's really helpful.
yeah.
yeah, so we started a Discord for this, and then people would submit their stories, and others would read it and then give them feedback. And so you get multiple people, different experienced authors reading your book, giving you feedback. So everybody was very appreciative. It was very the teamwork aspect was amazing. There was no bickering. It was like let's just go. We're all together, which kind of shocked me. But yeah, that's probably the best part. Just the whole. I'll miss when the Discord. I'm like, what happens when we do this? The Discord is it going to be there still because it's fun? And you'll put in like, hey, I wrote this other thing. Can I get some eyeballs on it? Tell me what I'm missing. And it's just a great resource. And it's I don't know. I'll probably be sad when the Kickstarter is over.
I'm sure the Discord will keep going.
Probably.
Might as well keep it for your channel. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what the heck? But I know what you mean about finishing a big project. Like when I wrote my dissertation and defended it and finished my PhD, you would think I would have been happy, right? But no, I was actually pretty depressed. Tells you something about life, doesn't it?
What's your PhD in?
My PhD is in English literature with a specialization in medieval literature,
Oh,
especially
right, nice.
Old English, so Beowulf and that sort of thing.
So
Yeah,
you can read
Nice.
that stuff.
I do. Yeah, for fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
That is my goal once I retire, Philip. I want to learn Middle English and then maybe even go on to Old English after
let's
that.
do it. Yeah, do it. Let me know if you want any tips for what textbooks or whatever to use. There's all kinds of online things these days that didn't exist when I was learning back in the early 90s. But still, I'm so pleased to hear you say that, Mike, because well, I think you read The Way of Dan, right? You probably detected some Old
Yep.
English
Oh yeah.
influences in there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's
Yep.
definitely a thing for me. Speaking of which, influences and stuff. I don't know if there any other major. Did we miss any major influences from your reading journeys that you want to make sure we mention before I ask my next thing?
I would just add for me, I like all the epics. I love Beowulf. I love, the Odyssey, the Iliad. I don't want to write that way because I just don't think I would do it justice.
Yeah,
But if we would come out with a blockbuster movie of the Aeneid, that'd be great. They always stop after the two Greek ones, and
yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean, I go back and I'll read Gilgamesh for fun, and then my brother's like, what is that? And I have to tell them, and they're like, go away. Um,
You're so right. There's a gap there. We've had plenty of adaptations of the Iliad and the Odyssey, but I can't think of one for the Aeneid.
nope.
Wow, that's shocking, actually. Huh.
Then we could do Divine Comedy. Let's just keep going. I'm
Oh,
all
yeah.
for it.
Wow. Okay. Well, so we got the influences question pretty much done there. Then I'm curious about your writing. what you guys have written so far, what kind of writing. I'm imagining all kinds of things with this combination of, Jurassic Park and 50 Shades of Grey, like dinosaurs doing who knows what. So,
Hmm.
so
Yeah, tell us, Mike. Tell us.
I'm curious to know more about your writing, guys. Actually, let's have Ro go first. What have you written? Tell us the titles, series, all that, and what give us the
Sure.
pitch, like the slightly longer than the elevator pitch.
Yeah, well, the first book I wrote is Magic Genesis the Gray,
Okay.
and it's been kind of fomenting in my head for years and years because having read, the Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff, all the fantasy stories we read generally start from a place of a world where magic exists. And my question was always, well, who was the first person to use magic, and how did that go? Right. So that's what this story is. And when I got only a master's, sorry, not a doctorate in English,
Oh,
um,
that's great. Yeah.
part of the thing was, you have to produce the better part of a book as your final kind of project. So I
Uh-huh.
started I started this book in that class, and basically there's like no magic in this world for the first chapter or two, and then by reasons, magic exists, and two people get a hold of it to start, right? And one is I'm going to take over the world, and the other is I have to stop crazy person from taking over the world.
Got it.
But one does it pretty much by himself, and the other has a group of friends, right, to kind of help her through.
Okay.
Um, and you kind of see how like the toll magic takes on the person
Mm,
in this particular world. The first time you do something, it's going to cause you a physical pain, right? And the harder that something is, the more pain it's going to cause you,
okay.
right? It could just be a bloody nose. It could put you in a coma, right? Anything. And the more you do the thing, the less it bothers you. You might just make your thumb numb or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so while she's trying not to kill herself, he's pushing all kinds of limits, right?
Hmm.
And it's a 6 book series, and over the course of the series, magic starts to become kind of embedded in this world, so it starts to look a little bit more like a fantasy world that you're used to, right?
Ah,
But
okay.
by
Huh.
the end of book one, you see how dragons come to be.
I love
uh,
it. It's kind of the opposite of what you typically get in fantasy, which is magic is receding and going away, and so you're taking the other way. I love it, and I also love how it seems like the emphasis here is the price of magic too. And that always is a good sign to me that somebody's thought this through pretty well.
Yeah, it's the first 6 books can really be broken up into two trilogies, and
Uh-huh.
one day I'm going to go back and redo them and put them into two trilogies because each one, like the first 3 books, follow that same initial antagonist, right?
Uh-huh.
And by the end of book 3, he gets his entire arc and he's done. And a new antagonist comes out of the end of book 3 and really takes his place in book 4,
Okay.
as does kind of um, a new protagonist. With the protagonist from the first one, there's a kind of becomes a partnership. The second series I'm in the middle of writing is a 5 book series called Ranger's Deck,
Okay.
and a gentleman who is introduced in book 5 of the first series is a ranger named Miragon, based on a D&D character I played back in the 80s. Uh,
Cool.
and he has the very rare ability to shift into a small black dragon.
Ah, I love it. Okay.
And he's married and he has some kids, and he kind of so about 10 years after the end of the first series, this series starts, and he meets a lady in the woods, and as people are wont to do in these stories, um, and she throws out some cards on a table, and he can only see the image of one card, and he has to kind of figure out what that image is about. And what it's about is there's a group of people who believe their god is coming back to the world in the form of a dragon, so all the other dragons must die.
Oh, okay.
But over the course of this series, again, the world is still developing magic. Magic's only been around for about 60 years or so at this point.
Okay.
So you are introduced to sprites, you're introduced to dryads. The book I'm working on right now will introduce the first druid into this world.
Hmm.
Uh, so it, but I'm, you know, I took a little break from that to write my last book, which is entirely different
Not in the
world.
same world as these two series.
I
Okay.
just needed something different.
Huh.
Um, so I wrote Sigil of Enderune, and that is a ink-based kind of magic, right? It has to be written down and then spoken. And the longer a magician can leave the ink on the paper and write in a continuous line, and the thicker they could write it, the more powerful the spell is, right? But obviously,
Oh,
you're
cool. Okay.
constrained by the size of, ink capacity of your pen and moving the paper and blah blah blah.
Huh.
So there is an artifact that's said to be out there that is purported to give the wielder the ability to use magic with a thought instead of writing it down.
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of the chase for that artifact. It's a one off. I did leave it open to write another story with those individuals, but it's not a series.
So that's your
It's not
standalone. What was the title of the standalone again?
Sigil of Enderune.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you've got six books in the original series, which is really two trilogies. And then
Yep.
you've got how many written in the second series that's in the same world as the first series?
Sorry. I've got three finished,
Okay.
and then I've got Sigil of Enderune, and I have two novellas which I was giving away through Book Funnel for a while.
Okay.
One would have been like a book zero of the original series, where it's the story of the antagonist of the first series,
Uh-huh.
kind of what he was doing before, and the other fits neatly between the first series and Ranger's Deck.
Wow. All right. That's a great output you've got there. So that's nine, 10 finished books
Right.
published. And then you've got the two novellas as well. And you've got this story coming out in the anthology.
Right.
So brilliant. That's some great
Yeah.
output. Uh, Mike, have you read any of Roe's books yet?
I've read bits and pieces. I am terrible at starting and then not finishing, and then I look at it like I don't remember what happened, and then I just put it back on the shelf.
Okay.
I that's why I mostly do audiobooks because I have an 35-minute commute each way to work, so I know I will chug through it. So
Yeah, yeah, I hear you there. Are your books available as audiobooks, Roe?
No,
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you got to get audiobooks made for Mike.
I know. I'll read them to him one night.
There we go. You can just sit in the car with him on the way to his work
That's
and
right.
read out the books to him while he's driving. Yeah. That would work. So, Mike, let's hear about your books, man. That's by the way, Ro, deeply impressed. That's a great output right there. And I love that you dedicated yourself to not only a six book series, but a follow-up series set in the same world. I'm sure you have spent a great deal of time in this world that you've created. So
Too much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, very cool, Mike. So tell us about your books, please.
so I started at age 46 on a lark, and I was like, I'm going to write a book. I wonder if I can. Um, and I spent 4 years on that book, and then it's a sci-fi book, and I was like, you know what? I've written this 13 times.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to set it down. I'm going to write fantasy. Maybe I can. I don't know. Can I write fantasy? And then I wrote. So Becoming a Druid was the first book of mine that came out in
Okay.
this fantasy, and then I wrote the
Becoming a
next three
druid.
books in that series.
Okay. So that's a four book
Um,
series.
it's a 7 book series, but I've written 4.
Okay, so four are out and there are three to come. All right.
I have a lot of incomplete series.
Okay.
So and that the whole druid it started because I'd read somewhere on the internet, so we know it must be true. Um, that England has more Iron Age, Bronze Age, Stone Age stuff lying around than all of mainland Europe. And I'm like, Britain's a very small place compared to, mainland Europe. And so I actually start pulling up maps and I'm like, oh my God, it's everywhere. And I'm like, what is this stuff? So I did not get a degree in literature. I actually chemistry I did not finish. I did not take English 101 or 102 and
Oh,
somehow I graduated. So yeah, I there's no reason why I should ever be writing. Um, and I started looking at the different types of stuff, and I got a spreadsheet out, and I started classifying the different types, dolmens and long barrows and whatnot. And I'm like, what does all this mean? I'm like, well, obviously these are different magics, places of power for different magics.
hmm.
I always liked the druids, so then I start researching druids, and then, which is probably to my bane, but I found the English to Proto-Celtic dictionary for free from the University of Wales.
Oh, cool.
And so then I can have the old tongue, and I'm like, okay, how do I say this in Proto-Celtic? And I was like, Stonehenge. Well, that's Anglo-Saxon. I can't use that. So it became Big White Stone Circle in Proto-Celtic, Menmir Cove Kell. And so all the places of power, or whatever, got their own little names, and then it just snowballed from there. My main character is Grommy. He he's very powerful. He wants to do the right thing, but he is emotionally unintelligent.
Oh no.
So he's a bit of a hothead. He gets in fights with his first two mentors in the Druids, and then the first scene he meets the one, he's like, "This is your last chance. It's me or no one, or you will never be a Druid." So he's learning from one of the nine Master Druids now because he sees the potential, and yeah, it goes off. Uh, Grommy, he means to do well. He really does. Um, but he creates at least as many problems as he solves.
So you're
And I
saying
tell
you
people,
have a flawed protagonist here.
oh yeah, he's a lot of fun to write.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled upon something, especially if you're like, I don't know the ins and outs of all of Iron Age England. So make your protagonist kind of dumb, and then that way you don't have to know her. Nope, that's just in character. Uh, for my sci-fi, I did the same thing. I'm like,
Good
he's gonna be a
strategy.
17-year-old because how do spaceships go from one planet to another? I have no idea. So he's going to be 17 and he's going to be a pilot. So he can pilot, but he can't do the engines.
Right.
So yeah, a dumb protagonist. That is the secret.
That's the secret right there. Okay. Yeah.
So for the Druid, I have 4 books written. I tell people I've basically set the entire chessboard up now, and now I get to start knocking pieces off, which is
Ooh.
kind of fun.
Sounds a little ominous. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it is a very dark and dangerous time. Um,
Yeah.
then I actually, after I wrote those 4, I kind of got burned out because I did 4 straight years of only that. So then I went back to my sci-fi, dusted off. I rewrote it another 5 or 6 times. I don't know, but that's the Haley Traveler. So that's the book I had started with. That is dystopian sci-fi set on Mars. Earth has fallen. The food ships have stopped arriving, and so people on Mars have to figure it out. Chris is my main character. His father gets murdered, and he has to go into the seedy underbelly of Mars. I don't call it the mafia, but it's the mafia. Uh, to
Okay.
see why was his dad off. Because they have a spaceship, they transport people, goods, and illicit substances when they really have to pay the bills.
Okay.
And so something goes wrong. His dad gets murdered. So he's 17. He's on his own. There is no safety net, no one looking out for him. So he has to figure all that out. And then he's like, and I'm going to get justice for dad. So he gets pulled down into all that. Um,
So he's the pilot that doesn't understand engineering.
more or less, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the second book was supposed to come out last summer, but then this series that came out of nowhere has taken over my life.
Oh
Um,
wow.
it um, it actually starts with a person. He's getting his PhD in anthropology,
Okay.
and the day before he actually has to present, his major professor calls him and goes, "Explain this letter to me." And it's the U.S. military saying for potential national security reasons, he needs to get his PhD, and we need to have him come with us. And his professor's like, "What the hell is a national security emergency involving anthropology?"
Huh.
Um, so, and you find out later he gets whisked to the Proxima Station, which is orbiting Proxima Centauri. There are 5 alien space or alien races who have invited humans up. but they only talk to the U.S. military. So the military is, like, well, we want your tech. We give us your tech, and so they're not doing a very good job. So the woman in charge, is like, my nephew's getting a PhD in anthropology. What are you even going to do with that? Bring him up here. He can make friends with the aliens.
Ha.
And then the five aliens are actually based on the five dogs that I've had. So they've become the templates for the alien races, and all my dogs' idiosyncrasies are now racial traits.
I love it.
So, um, and since I can't kill my dogs, even fictionally, I just went with let's be absurd. And that's why Tim Wolf is the bad guy, but he can't do anything because there's no violence, there's no sex, and there's not even any cussing, which I did not think I could write a book without any of those, but
Yeah.
here we are. But last March, the idea popped in my head, and it has not let me go. So Proxima Station is out. Jungle Planet is the second book that's out.
Okay.
Uh,
So you've
Area
got two books
51,
out already in this series.
yeah, Area 51 Audit will come out this year. That'll be book three.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So you've got
So
four books out in the Druid series. You've got one book out in the earlier sci-fi book, and now you've
yep,
got a new sci-fi series with two books out and
two.
a third on the way. Okay. Wow. That's pretty respectable. And I just want to know the names of the five dogs, if you don't mind sharing those.
Uh, Grendel, Buddy, Crichton, Shadow, and Calliope.
Okay. Do their names figure at all in the names of these alien
Oh,
species?
the main characters, that is their names.
Okay.
The,
Okay. I love it. I love it. And Ro, have you read any of these books yet?
Yeah, I've read all of Mike's books.
No kidding.
he's
I
my
edit.
line editor.
Oh, that is cheating. That's cheating.
I've read them all multiple times, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, anything you want to say about Mike's book since you're the editor? Yeah.
I think you should check them out. Actually, they're edited extremely well. Um, no, I mean they're fun reads. Even chapter 18 of God dang,
Daily Traveler.
thank you,
Yes. Thank
of
you for
Daily
that.
Traveler.
Thank you.
I'm looking at the cover there, and I couldn't make it out. Um,
Yeah. Is
So
my
this is
face
is
turning as red as the cover?
yes, it is. As a matter of fact, it's a good look. Uh,
nice.
it's Mike's dabbling into spice, and
Oh,
it's a 17-year-old, and it's absolutely as cringy as you think it could be. Uh,
okay.
yeah, it's
And then what Ro is alluding to is that after I wrote, I was like, I don't want to read this chapter again. I'm going to cut it. And Ro's like, no, no, there's personal growth. You have to have it. I'm like, well, I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to make it shorter. But I was way towards the end of this. So I was like, I'll just duplicate the chapter. I'll edit this one and then I'll pick the one I like and I'll delete the other. And I did. I fixed it. And I was like, okay, I want this. And whatever happened, I walked away. Somehow I came back. I'm like, oh, I have two chapter 18s. Well, I'll just move this one to 19. And so I have the chapters that I hate the most and I will never read again is duplicated in the first editions of my book. So the cringiest chapter I will ever write in my life is in there twice in a row.
Huh. And that's where the 50 Shades of Grey influence came in, I guess. Yeah.
I think that's
So
what got me talking about it. Yeah.
if you get the early copy, you will have that. I actually had someone, she's like, so I have that. She's like, well, here, you must sign the duplicate chapter. I'm like, thank you. I want to relive this. Thank you so much.
That's great. I love these inside stories here from you guys. Well, what in the remaining time we're wrapping up pretty soon here, but I am curious to know. Last question for you both. What are you excited to be reading? Or is there anything on the horizon that you're looking forward to? Any series that you want to start reading, or something like that that you can think of off the top of your head? Or what are you maybe starting now that you're excited about?
I am getting ready to read the semifinalist or a finalist for the IBOR competition.
Nice.
I won't say who it's by. I don't know if that's all been released yet.
Aha.
But I'm kind of looking forward to that. I've seen the person's name before quite a bit. Haven't read anything by them, so I am looking forward to that. And the other day at home, I was kind of wandering around looking for Stephen R. Donaldson because I wanted to reread that again. I haven't read that in a long time, and
Yeah.
something just kind of was poking me to reread that. I don't know what. But
Yeah, I need to go back to the Thomas Covenant series. I read the first book many, many, many years ago. and I never followed up when I was younger. So I want to correct that. That's one I want to correct. By the way, I had dinner once with Stephen Donaldson.
Yeah. What's he
Yeah.
like?
He's a nice guy, very nice guy. This was a few years ago at a conference, and I was with my friend AP Canavan, who was my editor, not copy editor so much as a developmental editor, though. But he's friends with Steven Erickson and Stephen Donaldson and other writers that were at this conference. So I got to sort of sit in on this dinner with Erickson and Donaldson. Met Jenny Wirtz there as well, so it was really cool. But yeah, he's a good dude, Stephen Donaldson. Yeah, he's nice sense of humor. Really nice guy, very mellow. So cool. What about you, Mike? Or what are you perhaps excited to pick up or we're in the midst of right now?
So I've actually just finished two books in like the last 3 weeks. Sorry, audiobooks really liked it. Reading Joe Burns' Wistful Ascending
Oh
series. I
yeah,
just got Blood Reunion. And then I
cool.
read The Swamp by Palmer Pickering, which is book two in her lit
Yeah,
RPG.
yeah.
So both those, love both of those books. The one I have to talk to him because he really disappointed me last year. He puts out a book in October, and I was like, okay, you got to come on the show. What's your new book? And he's like, family things have happened. I didn't get it finished. I'm like, what? I need this book.
Huh.
Um, it's weird Western, which is not anything that I gravitate towards.
Okay.
But think of like a Clint Eastwood type cowboy rides into town, has to protect the people from a werewolf
Nice. Okay.
in the 1870s. It's it the, I there's so many reasons why I should not like this book, but I mean it just hits for me. It's J.R. White is his name, and Shadow Wolves is the first book.
Okay. Okay.
He's put out three. I think there's going to be a four-book series. In book three, I really like him because he does his research as well, and it most everything in book three takes place at a whiskey fort.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what is a whiskey fort? I never heard this term before, so it's not the prettiest picture, but when the white men were expanding out west, they'd take all the whiskey, they'd trade it with the Native Americans. Native Americans would try to steal it, so they had to build a big fort to protect the alcohol so they could get the Native Americans drunk and take advantage of them.
Yeah.
So he is at a whiskey fort, and then hellish like creatures start attacking, but they're only attack at night. And so, but if they try to leave, they can't get, they're so far out in the wilderness that they can get tracked down if they try to leave the fort, but they're going to get overwhelmed. And it's just,
Huh.
it's masterful. Absolutely love J.R. White. He's a retired MMA fighter. I tell him all the time, how can you
Oh,
even
cool.
write? How do you have brain cells left? Um, so, but absolutely love his stuff. He did not come out with a book last year, so he better come out with one this October because I really need to finish. And one of the characters in book four is Rutherford B. Hayes, which
Oh,
have
yeah.
you ever read a book that had Rutherford B. Hayes in it?
I can't say I have. Not one of the most celebrated, let's put it that way, of the presidents. But yeah, brilliant. And Mike's frozen there again. Just for, oh, there you are.
Oh,
Cool. But I just want to say that I have not read that specific book by Palmer Pickering yet, but I did read Heliotrope and loved it. So yeah,
yep.
brilliant,
I
brilliant.
read that too.
Very
So
for
I did
me.
read,
What's that?
I said I did read a book over 500 pages. I read Heliotrope because Palmer asked me to and said, give me feedback. And so I did read it. It was 800 pages. So
That's a long one. It was
I,
reminiscent for me of Realm of the Elderlings a little bit, which I love, a series I love. But I had a chat with Palmer about it actually here on the channel. If anyone wants to check that out. And also, I've talked a number of times with Joe, JCM Byrne, and I'm
yep,
on the fifth book of the Hybrid Helix series myself. And it's just a wonderful, fun series with some
yep,
surprisingly really cool emotional depth as well. Because, he has a great sense of humor and you expect the humor, but then you get these emotional moments too in there. So,
yep,
yeah, great series, sci-fi or comic book, or he loves to blend the genres in there too. So, yeah.
yep.
Yeah, fun stuff. All right, guys. Well, this has been a blast. I had a great time chatting with you guys. It's really good to be able to see you both again. And I am rooting for you with this Kickstarter. I think I'll have to get in on it myself, and we'll be looking forward to hopefully the audiobook version of it too.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a great way to get to read work by 30 something authors. That's amazing in our community. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I will put, like I said, a link in the description to this video so people can easily find the Kickstarter. I'll put a link, of course, to Bald and Balding. You guys have done a ton of great interviews on your channel. So hopefully people will head over to Bald and Balding and check out some of those wonderful videos and subscribe to your channel as well. But thank you so much for spending this time with me. I had a blast.
Thanks, Philip. It's been great.
Thanks, Philip.
All right. But that is it for us for now. Until next time.